players were nervous.
I know.
I mean, what is he talking about? and where did that come from? Where did those nerves come from? Did they get the jitters because they realised that he had the jitters at half time? That's how it looked to me.
No.
How can you be a professional football player, earning the sort of money that these guys earn, playing on the big stage week after week, and you get nervous playing in front of Queen's Park from the league below at your own stadium, in front of your own fans? Nervous? I mean, he's effectively saying that they're a bunch of bottle merchants. That's what he's saying. They didn't have the bottle to see that through. The bottle crashed. I come back to it, and this isn't speaking retrospectively, Daniel, because I said it yesterday. Watching that, I felt that it was his bottle that was crashing, and I think it crashed spectacularly at half time. And from that moment on, his head was so muddled and so confused that he couldn't think clearly.
Aye. What about this though? We're getting tons of comments basically with the same theme. John Watt, Rangers are skint, that's why they can't afford to sack him and the rest of the team. I mean, is there any validity to that? I know the financial results have been really bad, but Rangers are still one of the biggest clubs in the UK. Surely that can't be the reason.
Mick, I don't know about you, but they've got a whole bunch of investors that seem to just pony up money after, investment after investment. Would one of them bankroll it? I don't know. I don't know quite how it works. But what I do know, and all we can go on is the fact that Patrick Stewart has come out and said this is not based on financial reasoning. Now, that might be true. It might not be true. But that is the club's official line on it. That they're not refusing to pull the trigger simply because of finances. But clearly their finances are in a hell of a state as well.
Yeah, you've got to take that at face value. He was asked the question, Patrick Stewart, directly, and he said that was not the case, that it was financial. So you have to take that at face value. So that's the reason. So it's not down to money. You got to suspect they know this is not going anywhere under the manager. I mean, he didn't get a bulk to spend in January. We talk to investors; they do tend to pony up. Listen, if it was 3 points in the league difference, would they have bought players in January?
They'd have found some money,
yeah. So they're clearly not giving the guy any more money to spend in January until we know what's going on in the summer. So they've been the holding pattern for months. That's
exactly what it is, mate.
You've got to think that they're looking behind the scenes about what's next in terms of managers. That should be communicated to the fans. The guy shouldn't be in the job in the meantime, because it's not fair on him either to let that linger on. But the whole club now is the Scottish Cup is the one distraction. Obviously, they've got Europe as well, which is a nice distraction for them. And fair play, they have done brilliant in Europe again when the pressure's been a bit off. But now that's gone, the Scottish Cup, there's no distractions. It's now basically a club that's suspended in animation now until the summer. Is there any point in keeping the manager until that point now? You can put them in garden leave and get a caretaker to the summer, and that buys them time. And it also buys them a bit of goodwill in the sport. You look at the crowd at the game yesterday, not a great turnout. Who could blame them? One of the callers touched on it there, that the season ticket renewals are going out any day now. At this point in time, there's no reason for them to be investing in this manager and team at the moment. You're talking about developing players and creating players that are assets. Are you really now going to trust Philippe Clement if he's talking about players being nervous against Queen's Park? You look at the man having a nice little burst of form. The last 4 or 5 games and right off the boil. You're talking about the guys like Bailey Rice. It talks him up last week, hooks him at half time in this cup tie. Hadji sent to Siberia, dragged back in to be rescued this season. Are you trusting the guy to develop these players that are now meant to be assets in the future? Mm-hmm. It's at some point, the financial figures, it's going to cost them more to allow this to continue.
Yeah.
They buy tickets. Players who have got potential, like Hefty and Igaman, are going to get worse under them. So is it going to actually be more financially viable to make a decision on this and change direction? And I don't get this thing about it. They can't keep changing managers and all that. That's nonsense. You can't just keep a manager because you've done it in the past. I mean, 2 guys get sacked for less, so keep the guy who's been worse than the previous 2.
I know. Yeah. You're right.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's
there's this thing, right, whereby and as I think it's indicative of the kind of slump that they're in. That even the prospect, can you remember a time previously, over I don't know how many years, that a Rangers manager would be pretty secure in his job so long as he's got a chance of winning the Scottish Cup.
Aye, that's a good point. Aye, that's a very good
Yeah.
point.
I mean, what point did the standards drop to such a level that if the manager wins a Scottish Cup, well, that's good for this year. That's a good return.
Well, see on that
13 points behind in the league.